All right, 1 second. Okay. Welcome, LEC community. My name is Edgar Palacios, and I'm the founder of the Latinx Education Collaborative. Excited for you all to be here with us today in our virtual career fair for aspiring and current Latinx education professionals. I am thrilled that our friends at Crossroads Charter Schools have joined us. Nikki, Brittany, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. So tell us a little bit more about Crossroads.
Sure. At Crossroads Charter Schools, we've been open since 2012. Our mission is to prepare and inspire students to build a better tomorrow by providing an academically rigorous K through 12 education in a creative, collaborative, and community-focused environment. We are currently located downtown Kansas City. We have 3 locations. Our Quality Hill location hosts grades K through 5. Our Central Street location hosts grades K through 6. And our Central Street is also where all of our 6th graders go. So even our 5th graders who are moving to 6th grade from Quality Hill all end up at our 6th grade campus at Central Street. This is to prepare them to move on to Crossroads Preparatory Academy that hosts grades 7 through 12. And the 2020-2021 school year will be our first graduating class. And then once we reach capacity between all 3 schools, we'll have 1,296 students. So making big strides, lots of great changes at Crossroads. And that leads me to, one of the great things is, and can also be one of the most challenging, is we are always moving forward, always processing change, and the amount of growth that we've seen over the last years. It gives our staff the opportunity to really be a part of the organization's structures and procedures. It gives them the opportunity to grow with us, to help build Crossroads to be the best school it can be. And we get that from our staff. So even though it can be challenging because change can be hard, as hard as it is exhilarating, it's also one of the best things about Crossroads. So.
So it sounds like you're weathering the current situation really well since you all love change and are adapting to change.
Yeah, let's go with that. We do have a lot of, we've been very tech-based with Crossroads since the beginning. Students have been using electronic devices, since the start, and teachers have been good in practicing that. We were already using Google Classrooms and different things like that. So the shift, as challenging as it was, because it is different, our staff had practiced doing this electronic learning already. So I think in the long run, that has definitely helped us. Yeah.
That's great. As you know, we are an organization that supports Latinx education professionals. And so the following question is around that. How does Crossroads support Latinx educators?
It's a great question. I want to start out by first saying we understand that the need for our students to have educators that look like them. To give you kind of like an estimate, we're around 60% of our students are of color, but less than 30% of our educators are. So you can see there's a big gap there. And that is something, as us being a part of this call today, is we're wanting to change that. We are wanting more of our staff to look like our students. So we're doing what we can to make that happen. But this also takes me back to like one of the great things about Crossroads is we are always willing to add in and improve on what we are already providing. We work to make sure that all of our employees are treated in fairness and equitably. It's a hard word to say quickly, which, is different from equal. And we try to promote the transparency, and we encourage our staff to reach out should they feel changes need to be made. So this is the one thing we do for our staff of color is we really try to keep an open mind. We want everybody to be able to speak freely, to say what they want. I know that as the HR manager, I am always available, always open. We've really been trying to put in place great leaders of color. Our current COO is of color. Our current CAO is of color. Nikki and I, we're really trying to make sure that we have people who look like us in the higher places as well. And I think we're doing a good job of that. We've got people of color who are principals, and, so that we have that support. But at the end of the day, we could always use more. And that is one of our goals and will continue to be one of our goals. Speaking of the transparency, one of the things that when we're trying to listen to staff and their feedback was one of the things we had gotten back so often from staff was that we needed a more open and transparent pay schedule to show how everybody is being paid, how it's being equitable. So admin worked on that for several months, and we came out with a new comp philosophy plan or pay scale and pushed that out to all staff, made lots and lots of changes to salary to bring everybody to where they needed to be, and to be completely transparent about that process. And Nikki, as an employee, I'm sure you can speak more about how that experience was for you. I'm hoping it was positive. It was definitely an interesting way to, provide or to accept and use the feedback that we have received from staff. So it's something that we're always continuing to do. We're actively working on a wellness program in addition to our other staff appreciation events and stuff like that. But as we get more people, educators of color, Latinx, and everything like that, I encourage everybody to reach out, and we can develop these programs and start to do the things that we need to do to make sure that everybody is feeling included and all of that good stuff. So hopefully that answers your question.
I can add to that.
Yeah, definitely. Jump right in.
Sure. As a minority employee, I do feel like one thing that Crossroads is very strong in and does really well is listening to employees. So as a African-American employee, there were lots of things that I was seeing, as we see in all schools, of inequities, right? And so I created this little small task force. We came, voiced our opinion, and out of that was created our equity team for our district. So looking at how we tackle equity with students, how we tackle equity with peers and colleagues, our staff, and what that looks like holistically as a district and how we can better ourselves on that. So we are definitely making strides, making changes. I feel like as a district that people of color are heard, right? Like our voice is heard. We really fight hard to have that and really advocating for each other and for our students.
I appreciate that commitment. And I am familiar with some of our educators, Johnny Gutierrez being one. So I'm gonna give him a great shout out. And I think he has truly enjoyed his experience at Crossroads as well. So just a plug for him there. What kind of open positions do you have currently?
So many. As Brittany stated earlier, like we are growing quickly. We have grown a lot. We have positions from our chief operating officer position, from elementary teachers all the way middle school, high school, from specials as far as music to ELL. I will plug for that because that's me. That we are looking for within all of our positions, whether they go from kindergarten all the way up to high school, all the way up to our COO position. We are looking for a very diverse staff. And as Brittany said, we are looking for staff that represents the community we live in, as well as the community in our schools. So we have a lot that are open right now. We are growing.
Awesome. And just for our community's information, first and foremost, if you do want to engage with Crossroads Charter Schools, I'm putting up their social media accounts on there. Please feel free to follow them and connect with them on there. And we will also be placing links to the open positions in our comments, as well as a form that if you're interested in connecting directly with Crossroads, that we'll be able to facilitate those introductions. So please feel free to fill those out. For our final question, but not really our final question, what kind of qualities are you looking for the candidates that you hire?
Sure. Overall, because we are a school that is putting in the work and we really value equity, and advocating for our staff and students. We really work hard to find candidates that value equity, that value diversity, and that are open to those conversations and those changes moving forward. We also are looking for people that have high expectations, right? That are open to being creative. As Brittany stated, with like our tech and the things that we've been doing, we do a lot around creative, thinking outside of the box. How can we reach all of our learners? So we are a district that values ever-changing and being willing to learn all of the time. So educators that are willing to put in the work, but then are also willing to show their creativity, and whatever they bring to the table, let's share that out and make our team as a whole stronger.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate your commitment, one, to equity, and two, elevating the voices of educators overall. You mentioned that you want to make sure that students have access to teachers who look like them. Why is that important?
Well, and Brittany, you can tag team me on this, but I'll speak from my experience. I never had an educator through all of my years, from elementary to college, that was Black. And I know that I was always looking for someone to advocate for me in those spaces when I felt like I wasn't being advocated for enough, right? So that's one important part. Having someone that can advocate for you, someone that you can relate to. The stronger connections we have in school, we all know data shows that the stronger students are, the more successful students are, the more tied in they are and committed to their education, the longer they hold on, right? And that they are successful. So overall, we're talking about teaching to the whole child, right? Having people that can advocate, that look for you, that have experiences with your culture and your background, your community. All of that builds a stronger community, a stronger child, which that's what we want, right?
Yeah, I often wonder like what my education would have been like had I had teachers of color, because I'm in the same boat. It just didn't exist. It wasn't there. I did finally have a guidance counselor in high school who looks like me, and that was like the first time. And can I tell you that all 6 of us colored people that was in the school was always in her office. She was the only person who supported us and advocated us. Mm-hmm. But again, that wasn't until I was almost out of high school. And then when I went into college, I experienced basically the same thing again. So, I would love for the next generation, for our children, for our students to be able to experience what I wasn't able to, and to be able to grow from that, because it took me a lot longer to grow from it, not having it when I was younger. And I think it will make a big difference, and I think the difference will be great. And yeah, that's my personal feeling for it.
Sure. And I know, just as an educator, right, wrapping around babies like makes me feel good, right? Like it's encouraging to me. And I can only imagine, once you leave home and you have mom and dad there, like being able to walk into spaces where you know that you are loved and that you know that you are going to be held accountable, that there's someone there that is going to connect with you, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and beautifully stated on both of your ends as to the importance of representation in schools. Brittany, I would be remiss if I didn't do this. We are a Surge Academy, Surge Institute family. So I just want to shout out Surge. I see that you're wearing our shirt, our logo. So I don't know how do you do that. Here we go. Right, there it is. Just want to bring that up into the conversation. No follow up there, because we all know. But in really what I'm hearing, that there is a lot of opportunity for educators who are interested in growing within the organization itself. I'm appreciative of the commitment to equity. Can you talk a little bit about, as an organizational culture, I'm hearing the words transparency, I'm hearing equity. That sometimes feels a little bit uncomfortable. So how do you handle that tension that may rise from those conversations?
I can speak to that a little bit. So I know that all of our buildings, our 3 buildings, have been tasked with taking on this conversation of equity. And you're right, it is hard. So along with that, we also tag team in with how to handle difficult conversations, right? And building that muscle, because it is a muscle that has to be worked. So as as juvenile as it sounds, like not only is that modeled for us, but then we have practiced it, right? We do a lot of PD around how to have those difficult conversations respectfully, how to listen, right? And how to take feedback on either end, right? Regardless of intention. We do a lot of PD work. A lot of our early release days are centered, our morning PDs at all of our buildings are around academics and content, and a lot of those afternoon early release days are centered around driving equity forward and how do we lift our voice and how do we have these conversations. And so we do a lot of practice. It's not always easy, as we all know. It is difficult, but we are definitely trying to strengthen that muscle and put more tools in our toolboxes as adults, and how to handle that with each other and how to move forward in handling that with students. But you're right, it is hard, but necessary.
I appreciate that, and everything worth doing is worth doing, right? And so I appreciate your commitment to that. Any final thoughts or messages that you want to get out to our community?
Come apply at Crossroads.
Yeah, we are a place that works really hard and believe in the work that we're doing. However, we love what we're doing. I've been here since the beginning. And I'll be here for quite some time. I love the people I work with. It is a great place to work with. So, Crossroads, we need to run.
Get over all of that. I know, right?
That sounds like a new staff building activity here in the next couple of weeks. So again, thank you so much, Brittany, Nikki, for spending your time with us today and talking to our community, speaking with our community around opportunities at Crossroads Charter Schools. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for your participation.
Yes, thank you for having us. Have a great day.